Good morning and welcome to Kranj, and if you're in mainland Europe, congratulations for getting up so early. A nice, bright and early start here in Slovenia. I'm Charlie Bosco, very pleased to say I've got Loic Timmermans alongside me, and Loic, you were climbing yesterday in the qualifiers, unlucky 27th, sorry to mention it, won't be mentioned again, but it's an old school venue here in Kranj, isn't it? It's an old school wall, body tension, traditional routes, and it looks like that's what we've got for the semi-final.
Yeah, it's a very unusual wall. The shapes of the wall are quite different than what we are used to, and which makes it pretty demanding, very body tension routes. And I think it will be the same today.
And yesterday in the qualifiers, how did you find it? It seemed like they got the level about right, and you were just perhaps slightly unlucky, but it felt like the routes were as they should be.
Yeah, they were really perfect routes, really good quality, and I just did two quite okay routes, and usually it's better to do one very good one and then one where you can actually mess it up a bit, and I did just two good ones.
Alright, well before we get on with today's semi-final, we've already mentioned the qualifiers, so let's have a look at the best of yesterday's action. The legendary hall in Kranj, which has hosted World Cup since 1996, hosted the 2019 qualifying day with strong lineups and epic potential storylines on both the men's and women's side of the round. After the disappointment of missing the first chance to qualify for next year's Olympic Games, Andra was back in competition mode and topped both qualifying routes to put him joint first with Stefano Ghisolfi, Alberto Hines Lopez, Kokoro Fuji and Kai Harada. Alberto Hines Lopez's double top underlined that he is now a serious contender at this level. His battling style has won him many fans, and if he makes the final, expect fireworks. Also aiming to make the last eight was Kranj 2018 finalist Marcello Bombard.
Today I felt well, especially on the first route, the one on the left. And it was a bit sketchy to climb, but I managed to climb well, and I felt high, so I'm satisfied with it.
Marcello's compatriot Stefano Ghisolfi looked like his old self and is aiming to make it back-to-back wins on the famous overhangs of Kranj after his victory last year. 2017 season champion Romain de Grange first competed in Kranj in 2005, and 14 years later he made yet another semi-final, finishing the day 11th. The women climbed in the afternoon, and despite the presence of 2018 lead world champion Jessie Pilt, all eyes were on Janja Garnbret, who has only won once in her home event. Mina Markavitch, meanwhile, has won in Kranj 4 times and is desperate for another victory in her home country. She did her chances no harm by qualifying in 7th, topping one route in the process.
possessor of epic levels of endurance, surpassed everyone in Kranj qualifiers by topping one route, getting close on the other and finishing first for the day. Potapova, fresh from winning the Youth World Championships, also made semis, as did Anna Verhoeven.
Happy about the first route because I had to climb first, and that's always difficult, but that went smoothly. And then the second route was really difficult. It felt like a project on rock or in a gym, but hard to climb in a competition, especially when you see other people struggle just because it's so uncomfortable to climb. But in the end it went pretty well, and I got high on the route.
Janja Garnbret couldn't quite deliver first in the qualifiers for her many fans, but she did manage second and will take some stopping in the semis with the home crowd roaring her on. Meikutaki also made semis, which promise to be quite a show.
And we are just minutes away from the start of that show. That is the scene here in Kranj. The men will be climbing on the left in the blue and red volumes. Women will be on the right on the black and yellow. Quite contrasting routes for the men and the women. We had a look at the routes earlier on this morning. If you're just joining us, Charlie Bosco here with Loic Timmermans alongside me. And as I said in my intro, congratulations on getting up early if you're in mainland Europe. It's far too early for me to calculate what time it must be in North America, but good job to you as well. And yeah, Loic, as I was saying, quite contrasting routes. Looks on the men's side, a little more traditional resistance route.
Yeah, it's a pretty physical route. It doesn't seem too complicated to read. Just, yeah, really powerful moves in the roof there, and then just bumpy end of the route.
And over on the women's side, a little more tricky, a lot of dual texture.
Especially with the dual texture holes there, you have to be stepping on the right holes. Maybe use the structure more than the usual. Maybe that was what was intended with those plastic volumes, so that the climbers would be forced to use the structure. So it might be tricky movements there.
Yeah, and we've got 27 women in today's semi-final. We had a tie in 26th place for Molly Thompson-Smith and Fanny Gibert, both of whom were nervously watching for much of yesterday afternoon to see if they made it through. Excuse me. They did in the end, but it was a bit of a long afternoon, I suspect, for both of them. Let's have a look at the starting list. And as you can see there, Fanny will be out first. Her and Molly Thompson-Smith, exactly the same score on both routes. And then Elnaz Rikabi, always good to see Iran represented at this level of competition. And the names will be increasingly familiar. As ever, Slovenia had a good day. You could see there, Lana Skusek. Kyra Kondi will be out in the top half of the draw, and then she'll be joined by Shima a bit later on. As I mentioned, Slovenia did have a good day. Chiaza, Luchka and Mina. And there's two more Slovenians still to come. There they are, Mia Krampel and Janja Garnbret. Janja couldn't find first place in the qualifiers. Ai Mori, she of the epic endurance, managed to find two tops, which no one else could manage. Yannick Floe, fresh from his third place in the IFSC World Championship bouldering, will be out first. Just the regulation 26 men in the semi-final. And as I said, a couple of climbers from the USA on both sides of the draw, Sean Bailey and Jesse Grupper on the men's side. And the top half of the final six, I should say, has a very familiar feel. Alberto Hines Lopez, who's won a lot of fans this year with his battling style, he'll be out fifth to last. And then Adam Andra and Stefano Gasolfi, the last two out. So I mentioned Yannick Floe, and he has just got underway on the route, and Fanny Gibert has just done the same. Climbers had their observation period this morning. Women observed about 20 minutes ago, and the men observed about 10 minutes ago. They were actually observing just as we started our broadcast, so information should be pretty fresh in the memory for both climbers.
Fanny Uvilario and Briansono G pole-finale already in semi-final in Villar and Briançon, Fanny Gibert.
It's going really easily for the moment for Yannick. It doesn't seem like they have done a really tricky start.
Yeah, I mean, from my reading of it, the start looks relatively basic. Doesn't look easy, but it doesn't look like there's too many tricks. But there's certainly some powerful moves coming up at the change of angle.
This move looks hard. What? That was very close.
It looked harder than I was expecting, actually.
Yeah, me too.
And now Yannick will head up to a series of quite small holes, and then there's a big blue volume. You can just see top left of your screen, and then two big red ones, the first one of which we can see again top left. And then I think things will get very powerful. I have to say that that move looked absolutely savage.
Yeah, I didn't expect it at all. Now it gets crimpy, and then it's going to get really powerful in this big roof of Kranj, where it's pretty famous to have really nice moves and body tension move where you can have really big swings. So let's see how he's doing it.
So you can see Yannick is bottom right, Fanny top right, and then the overall view on the left. Let's just keep an eye on Yannick for now, because this is the bit of the men's route that I think could really separate the climbers. And we used Yannick earlier on. There's a little thumb catch on that big blue volume, and I think he had it, but there maybe not enough room for two thumbs.
Yeah. I'm not sure that was the intended beta. Maybe it was intended to go right hand, I'm not sure. I guess we will see with other climbers. Here, yeah, there is a foothold, I think, on this lower black volume.
This will be interesting though, this section between the fourth and fifth quick draws. There's two dual texture holes that you can see. It's quite hard to make out when they're black, which is bit just high friction and which bit is low, but there's not really much for the feet, so you're going to have to use the actual wall itself, which some of the women yesterday didn't seem that keen on doing. They were sometimes looking for footholds where there weren't any, but Fanny's negotiated it pretty safely.
I really like to see Fanny climbing because she's especially a boulderer, so she doesn't really have much endurance for lead climbing. So she's really using her body in every way possible. Like here, she's using her heel hooks, so she has less pump in the forearms. And yeah, she's trying to use all her bouldering skills so she doesn't get pumped too early. But in a way, you can really see the struggle here. And yes.
Yeah, sadly the struggle is real. She just reached the change in angle, roughly the same point on the wall as Yannick Floe, just where it really begins to steepen, almost gets to horizontal. It's so featured, this Kranj wall, it can be kind of hard to lose track of where easy to lose track of where the climbers are. Doesn't look like that was a mistake with the sequence. Perhaps
no,
she's getting tired.
Right, yeah, just tired, I think. So let's see this tricky move again, where Yannick almost fell in his go.
Yeah, Rei Sugimoto, two-time Boulder World Cup winner.
Already in first place in World Cup in bouldering competition in
And Molly Thompson-Smith will be making her way out. That wasn't actually the move, was it?
No, but it's
another committing move.
It's quite good to stabilize with the side there. Let's see how he's doing here. Wow, nice tension. He was just squeezing with everything he had.
Which is quite a lot.
Yes. There is really no rest on this route. You just have to keep going after here. Let's see what he's doing with this sequence.
Seems already that the men's route climbs a lot quicker than the women's route. Not much opportunity to rest, not much technicality low down. Ray sticks the move up to the blue volume, so yeah, that's ahead of Yannick now.
It's
going pretty smooth. Nice heel hook here. Now the crimpy sequence starts, but it's getting a bit pumped here. Come on.
So that section's certainly proven to be the crux right now, albeit only after two climbers. I think we lost Molly pretty low down, unfortunately. I don't know if you might have picked that up through Loic's microphone, actually. Our technical delegate at the event here just came over and explained to me that before the cleaning break, the climbers are going to come out at the same time. So they're going to try and keep the pace of the semi-finals the same so that the cleaning break is at the same time for both men and women. And then after the cleaning break, they'll go at whatever pace they want. So it'll be 2 by 2, like Noah's Ark, for the first half. That was Molly, and that's disappointing. I mean, as I say, she had a let's have a look.
Oh, she got it right too low. She didn't grab it almost. Yeah.
It's a disappointing one for Molly Thompson-Smith. As I said, only just made it into the semi-final, and that's not the result she would have been hoping for. Elnaz Rakabi now, and Jakub Konečný. One thing to think about, we've mentioned the early start here several times, is that if you are starting the semi-final very early, you have had an even earlier start. I mean, I saw Stefano Casolfi, Adam Andra, Sean McCall, Jakob Schubert, they all wandered in at 7:25.
Yeah.
That's a big difference from coming in at 6.
Yeah, it is, but you just have to get used to be able to climb at any hour in the day. And for example, I knew Kranj could be very early start, so for the past 2 weeks I've been trying to climb earlier. So I did morning sessions where I arrived at 8 at my climbing gym to do some morning sessions to keep your body ready for those kinds of starts. But it's true that when you climb, you like to have at least 1.5 hours before warming up. So when we start at 8, actually we start much earlier before warming up, and even earlier with breakfast and everything.
Elnaz safely negotiated that move that stopped Molly Thompson-Smith. And did you find your ability to climb early improved during the 2 weeks? Or is it more of a psychological thing?
Yeah, I think, and just being mentally also ready to fight earlier is also something. And yeah, it's more to have your habits when you're climbing really early ready. But usually I'm more a night person. Oh, this is a tricky movement.
Yeah, Jakub Konečný just never looked like he really got comfortable on the route. That seemed to be a bit of a theme yesterday. We'll stick with Elnaz, but it seemed to be a theme yesterday that some of the routes were a little bit uncomfortable.
Yep.
Particularly on the women's side. Was it the right-hand one? Just the climbers were never really allowed to settle.
Yeah, you have to dare push on your feet. You have to be able to use some really slopey hands, and you can't just be in control all the time. So that's what all World Cups are about. It's about also being able to take some risks, and here it's going pretty well now.
Yeah, she's climbing really well.
Yeah, she doesn't seem tired at all.
She seems to have read it pretty well as well. There hasn't been any coming back down, any pauses.
No.
It's the first little slip, really. So one thing I should have checked with Graham Alderson, our technical delegate, is if the cleaning will take place after 13 women, with there being 27 in the semi-final. I assume it will. It'll mean 14 after the climbing, after the cleaning break. As it is, Elnaz finds herself all alone on the wall.
This is the powerful move.
Could be a potential stopper move, we'll see.
It's a really big lock-off there. Coming from a ball, really slopey one.
Yeah, you could see a kind of bumping on those two balls. Just didn't look that comfortable. So now Monchois.
He had a really nice qualifying round yesterday. He did a really good first route, and then messed a bit up the second one, but I think he's in a really good shape. He's been training in Innsbruck, I think, lately, so he's probably really in a good shape.
Yeah, as I said, we're going to try and get the cleaning break to take place at the same time. But for now, it seems that the natural cadence of the semi-final is keeping the climbers well matched. Catherine Chung of Switzerland will be out next on the women's route. I'm just looking over, she's just got underway. She's a metre or so off the ground. Oh, there she is.
In 7th place.
Yeah, it seems like France have a pretty good selection of young climbers coming through. We're going to see Norwen Ark next. Oriane Bertun in the Youth World Championships did the double of Boulder and Lead in Youth B. Now has been going really well.
Yeah, you really could have a nice sequence there to find another solution than Yannick, for example. But it's true that there is a really new generation in France coming up, and they're gonna be strong. And they are already, actually.
Yeah, just thinking that with good
now
timing.
already, yes.
So let's have a look what he can do with this move up to the blue.
They all seem to be a bit hesitating about which hand they should go first, and you have to take really quick decisions because it's really roofy there.
Fantastic body tension. The swing was stopped before it really started. Yeah, now Monchois not lacking in the power department, that's for sure. We saw Yannick Fleury try and go up to the blue with one hand, and then he couldn't bring the other one up. No problem for now. Monchois is heading out left now onto the undercling. Another powerful move here. He does choose to employ a heel hook. Oh, it does really well to stick that. I think he had to be accurate.
That's where the fight starts. Come on.
That's a really good performance, though. The big move up with the right hand. He was super accurate, super powerful. As Catherine, this women's route seems to be climbing really slowly. I mean, we looked over, she's only, what, 4 quick draws up?
It likes you, you have to if you don't want to slip anything or anywhere, and those slopey and dual texture holes, you really have to take them right if you don't want to slip. Like we saw Molly not taking it at the right place, and there is no friction, so if you miss the hole, you're just off the wall. And we are not used to this structure wall. It's also this feature of the wall that makes it really special, is that we are used to have walls with no structure at all, and here there are all those little foot marks everywhere, and you have to really choose your feet really precisely.
Yeah, it's an unusual feature of the wall, as you say, and you haven't got much choice but to use the actual structure of the wall here. It's not something we see very often. Will Bosey's just got underway on the men's route. I will keep an eye on him while we stick with Catherine. All just beginning to fill up here in Kranj. It's a lot to ask to people to be here at 8, but it seems at 8:30 it's a little more acceptable to the local population. They're making their way in now. And that is the scene that they're looking at, a famous wall here in Kranj, where the routes terminate in the rafters. It's certainly an unusual feature. So Catherine now got this, what's proved to be a pretty powerful section. You bump out to that left ball, get yourself established, and then there's a hard move up where we've seen 2 climbers fall already. And Will Bosey just slipped off very low on the men's route. We'll come back for a replay. Let's watch Catherine see if she can stick this move up.
Oh, she's going with a toe hook, but didn't work either. We've seen a heel hook, we've seen a toe hook, didn't work, but it seems that you just actually have to lock it off with your biceps and make your raw power work.
Let's have a look at the replay of Will Bosey. This was pretty low down. There's a few high-risk moves here. And that is frustrating stuff for Will Bosey. He's had a season that's promised a lot. It hasn't quite delivered just yet.
I think we really underestimated this start of the route. It looks actually really more demanding than it looks like.
Yeah, well, I mean, certainly my initial reaction was that it'd be quite powerful but basic, and then Yannick Floe walked up it.
Yeah, but he really had
quite
to
committing move.
Yeah.
So we'll see. One thing's for sure, they're two very different routes. The women's really making them think, body position absolutely crucial, and the men's route, you've got to really commit to your method, it would seem. Got a good show here in the semi-finals, it would seem, from these routes. Here's Angie.
Our first Slovenian on the wall here. I think it's his first semi-final in lead this year.
Even by the standards of Slovenian World Cup climbers, said to be immensely strong, Andrew. So let's see how he gets on with that traverse, if he can get there.
Let's see how he can use his bouldering skills in this very bouldery and tricky sequence.
So 3 climbers tied on 20 plus in the women's semi-final, and then now Marchois leading the way on the men's side, 27.5 plus.
Well, you can really see the tension there to get this right foothold, and the rope was kind of helping him, but we'll see what they say. Come on.
Well, I mentioned Angie's power. It came to very good use there. As you say, I think without the rope, he might have been in trouble.
Yeah, so let's see what the judges say later on, but for now, let's cheering on. Come on.
Angie getting a lot of encouragement, as you would expect. The venue MC's been making himself heard all day yesterday and this morning.
You can see the arms getting a bit bent when they can't really hold their arms straight. You can actually think they are getting a bit pumped, and that's what's going on right now. So let's see how long he can fight. He's trying to rest there.
Just keeping an eye on Nolwenn Ark, by the way. She's up to the 4th quick draw, those dual texture holes. There she is on the right. Angie goes up.
Come on.
Slight heart in the mouth moment. This is a hard move as well. Matching. It's where we lost Yannick Floe, and it's where we lose Angie as well. Here is Nolwenn. Sadly for Angie, I don't think that will be enough for a place in the final. There's another Slovenian out next, Martin Bergant, climbing on the left-hand side of the wall on the men's route. And stick with Nolwenn Ark. Be good to see someone get through this 20-plus move.
No signs of fatigue for the moment for Nolwenn, so if she's really, she's placing her feet right there, she might have a chance to do the movement. Come on.
She doesn't look that convinced by the feet.
No, but she seems really...
She looks very comfortable though, choosing to match on that left-hand ball.
Yeah, I think she's thinking right now, like, how am I going to do this move? Oh, that's another sequence again. Come on. That seems far. Come on. That foot was really high for her, I think. I'm not sure she was really able to use this foot that high for her. But
you'll know a lot better than me, but surely if your foot is that high, as you move, it kind of pushes into your chest, does it? And
exactly. Yeah. But you have to take quick decisions, and maybe that's what she was thinking at that moment.
So that 20-plus move causing problems, it would seem. I think that'll be the 4th climber tied there now. Now Marchois, 27.5 plus. The 0.5 comes from when a hold is used as a handhold that wasn't originally marked as a handhold. So it's there'd be hold 27 marked on the route map and then hold 28, but if a climber uses something in between, it becomes 27.5. So that's the slightly unusual score.
Very nice drop knee there.
Yeah, Martin has looked really good on the wall yesterday, looking super strong. Slovenia do seem to have a lot of good days, but even by their standards, they had a good one yesterday. Julia Fisa underway on the women's route. Martin Bergan absolutely powering his way up this route so far.
You can really see his try hard face there, which is a really sign of how hard he's moved. So actually hard.
Martin! Darcy Martin! Martin Bergan!
Yeah, that was the move that Andra had a few problems with. Martin sticks it a little easier.
He's making use of his whole forearm there, which is quite unusual too.
Yeah, you don't often see a climber really lie their forearm like that. Yeah, Fisa still relatively low on the women's route, so we're sticking with Martin Bergan. That looked a little bit of a heart in the mouth moment.
He's going for the right hand there.
Presumably he'll have to match, or will he go straight up? I was about to say it's a risky way to do it.
That's why how I thought it was meant to be, but I think it's possible. Maybe he was also a little bit tired with the start of the route. We will see other climbers come there, but we know that there are different sequences possible to do this movement.
Fedor Samoilov of the Ukraine will be climbing next. This is Julia Fisa figuring out those black dual texture volumes.
Wow, very witchy move there. She manages to do it very well.
4 climbers tied on 20 plus 4 out of 5 who finished their attempts on the women's route. Currently being separated to count back to the qualifying round on the women's side, with Nolwenn Ark currently in first. Julia Fisa now approaching the 20 plus move. It's the move off that hold there.
She hasn't clipped the quick draw on the right there yet. Let's see what she will try to do. Oh, she's going directly.
So again, I think the judges will give that a plus. So it'll be another climber on that 20 plus move. Route setters, I suspect, might be a little bit nervous about this one. I think they'd like to see someone get through that sooner rather than later. Here goes Fedor.
Like now, he actually had also a very good round, but he tapped one route and then fell pretty low on the other one where there was a very tricky sequence, but he's definitely in shape, and yeah, I'm very curious to see what he's going to do here.
Second coming and representing Switzerland, Anne-Sophie Correa.
He's also making use of this drop knee here, which is, I think, the best way to do this sequence.
He had a really funny day in the qualifiers yesterday, Fedor. He was topped one of the routes.
Yeah,
and he was placed 60th out of 71 on the other. Fell very low down.
That's actually the best thing to do in World Cup route, is to top one, and then you can do anything you want in the other one. I think he might even not have climbed the other route, and he was already qualified, so...
Yeah, it would have been close, actually. Probably would.
Yeah, I think he was definitely.
Yeah, it just had a really unusual. It's not often you see someone first on one route and 60th on the other, especially when there's only 71 climbers. But yeah, interesting day for Fedor. It looked good on the one he looked good on.
Yeah, so that's why I was thinking he's really in shape, and
yeah.
What is for sure is that I don't think endurance will be a big problem for him. I've always seen like one of the climbers with the most endurance. So let's see how he's managing this sequence, which sequence he will actually pick.
And Sophie Culler is climbing on the women's route. Let's stick with Fed here. Did the lower section really powerfully. Looked pretty comfortable. That looks like the way to do it, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Go with the left hand then match.
For the moment, it looks like it is the easiest way.
Couple more moves to go and he'll be ahead of now Monchois. You can see the big red volumes that now was battling with it just on the top left of your screen. If you can get much past there, you'll be comfortably in the lead. Now beginning to fight a little bit, Fede. Those successive pinches really burn your energy quickly.
Yeah, and his heel hook looks tricky to put. Come on.
Yeah, so that'll be, I think, third for Fede as it stands. Here's Anne-Sophie. Dmitry Fakiryanov of Russia will be the next and 9th climber out. Still nobody through that 20+ move, and just to let you know, we've got a tie now with Noen Ark and Julia Fischer as we see the scores on screen. So they were tied in the previous round, they're now tied in the semi-final as well. Who can find a way through this move? It's sometimes you do get a bit nervous a bit early on that the route setters might have overcooked a move, and then one climber gets through it and it seems like it opens the gates.
Yeah. Hopefully that's what we are going to see now with Anne-Sophie. She has the quick throw clipped in. She seems okay. Come on. She also got to get her feet right there. They seem to all struggle with the feet there, and she's slipping on these dual texture holds, which are they can be awful holds if you don't step on them right. They can be really frustrating holds.
Yeah, so she slipped short of the 20+ move, but it's still that same section of the route. I'm just looking at the officials. There's actually a route setter being sent up the men's route, I think. I'm just looking. I can't say with the naked eye I can see anything clearly wrong.
Sometimes it's just for a quick draw, which is right. Yeah, that's it.
The second quick draw, there it is. It's just hanging a bit strangely. So there we go, all sorted, and we carry on. First Slovenian woman out in the semi-final, Lana Skusek. And Dmitry Fakiryanov gets underway on the left-hand side on the men's route. You can see the wall here in Kranj. It's a particularly old-school venue, not always ideal for our cameras. You can see that it's kind of set back. There's a window over on the right, which means you get a load of light you don't really want. If you're off to the side, you can only see one of the routes. I love it, I think it's great, but it's very old school, as you are probably sensing if you're watching this at home. This is not a modern, sanitized arena. This is an old school climbing venue, and all the better for it. But apologies if sometimes we have a bit of a strange camera angle. There's not much we can do about that.
But that's what makes it a really special competition, and athletes actually like it. And we all also have memories here, because it used to be a youth competition before, a European Cup. And so everyone has some memories here, has had some first climbing, first competitions, first podiums maybe. So it is always special to come back here. It's a historical venue.
Oh, it's great, Kranj. It's great. Lovely way to spend a Sunday morning. If you're just tuning in, Charlie Bosco and Loic Timmermans here, watching two interesting but very different semi-finals right now. Men on the left on the blue and red, and women on the right on the black and yellow. And somebody has got one of those things near us that they bang together. I don't know, what are they called? I don't know. The inflatable things you bang together at sporting events. I'm going to go and pop them.
But it's still better than Vuvuzela, I think.
Yes, the was it 2010 Football World Cup ruled by vuvuzelas or whatever they were called.
Yeah, in Brazil.
Gremo Lana, Lana skuša. Ajde Lana. Super plezanje, tole naše Lane skuše. Gremo Lana.
Again, you might just have heard through Lorik's microphone our technical delegate Graham just came over and said there's a possible appeal against now Monsoir, who's currently leading the way for standing on a bolt.
Oh. Again, well,
no comment.
No comment.
Let's see. The judges are will do their thing, but if his score changes, that's what it will be.
Let's see this move here right now. They're both in the crack sequences.
Yeah, Lana Skusek looking pretty solid and finally sticks that move. So that is 21. First climber to pierce that. Dmitry Fakirionov on the left. Make his way out across the pinches. Looking like he's got a bit of a battle on his hands. But let's just keep an eye on Lana because she's finally found a way through into another technical section. These dual texture holds, the black section is high friction, the white section is low friction, and again it's going to be technical, time consuming, thought provoking section. She's absolutely flying though.
Yeah, she's still looking really good.
She looks solid setting up for the 20 plus move.
Having a rest there. And Dimitri is wondering what to do there. He's not putting the heel hook where all the others did. Come on. Wow.
So now Monsoir, albeit for now, got through that move and is in first place still. Let's keep an eye on this. This is great stuff.
She's very in control. It's really nice to see. Come on.
Yeah, she looks solid lining up for the hard move. She's still looking pretty solid now, looking tired, but seems to have read every move to perfection. She's currently climbed right into the section of the wall that's bleached by the light, sadly.
Yeah, and there are yellow holes, so that's maybe why we don't really see them, but she's getting to a corner here where it's getting tricky. There are holes on the side of the hold. Yeah, come on.
Yeah, as I say, she's in a bit bleached by the light. There we go. Now we can see where she was.
Come on. What a fight. That was amazing to see.
Fantastic stuff. Slapped up with the left hand. She's comfortably in the lead. What a great result it would be for Slovenia if she could make the final.
And we haven't really seen her on the scene much, so it's really impressive to see. Maybe the crowd also really helped here. We could hear them scream like so loud. It's really amazing to see.
Brilliant performance, absolutely fantastic. Standout performance so far, I think, of either semi-final really, given how hard that move looked. And she got through it with not much fuss. Hamish Macarthur's just got underway on the men's side. And Futaba Ito climbing next. You can see there, she's just Lana just talking to the coaches. They're probably saying to her, just explaining just how good her performance were. Hamish underway now, first World Cup semi-final for him, fresh from a podium in the Youth World Championships a month or so ago in Arco.
Yeah, he's got definitely nothing to lose, so he will probably enjoy his climbing and just let's see what he's going to do.
Yeah, he's really begun to look like the real deal recently, Hamish Macarthur. Youth World Championships last year and this year. He competed in Kranj last year but didn't make the semi-final, but really strong yesterday in the qualifiers. He's a tall, we'd call him a rangy climber in Britain, kind of long-limbed. Futaba Ito, meanwhile, just seems to get stronger and stronger and stronger. Talk about someone that's proved themselves in the Youth World Championships and then made the step up into the seniors. Futaba going really, really well. Japan not quite brought their A team. There's no Tomoe Narasaki here. There's no Akio Noguchi. No Miho Nanaka.
And yet they are all super strong.
Yeah, I say that, and Aimori qualified first.
Yes.
So
They're always so impressive. They could send anyone from Japan and they will be leading the way.
we just need to go to B Pump and look at the average person.
Yeah, it's always not frustrating but impressive. I mean, a bit frustrating because you're climbing there, you think you're maybe strong, and then you see all the climbers you don't know and they just, climb way better than you.
I'm used to that, but you're probably not.
No. Yeah, he's climbing really well for the moment. Very solid. He's getting to this place where you can rest for a little bit before the other tricky sequence in the roof.
Taba, meanwhile, on the right, just trying to figure out those dual texture holds. Hopefully we'll get herself set, and then hopefully as well could find a way through that tough move. And we're going to have another look at the head wall. Hamish Macarthur, as you say, getting himself something of a rest. It's where we saw Martin Bergant put his whole forearm, and suddenly, seemingly out of the blue, we lose Hamish just as he went to the change of angle. Did he miss the hold?
Yeah, it seems like he didn't really figure out the sequence there.
Oh, we lose Futaba low down as well. She might have had an eye on the place in the final. I don't think she's going to get there.
Yeah, I'm not sure what happened there.
So two slightly strange falls actually from both climbers.
Yeah.
Hamish on the left, Futaba on the right. Both seem to slip seemingly whilst looking quite comfortable.
Yeah, that's where you really see that World Cup routes are really demanding and you're not allowed to make any mistake or you're just out of it.
Futaba looking up, still trying to figure out what might have happened. Sean Bailey of the USA now, who's a finalist in the last World Cup in Briançon. Can you believe that was the last World Cup? 2.5 months ago.
Oh, yeah.
There's been so much climbing since.
True.
But yeah, last World Cup action was Briançon towards the end of July. Nika Potapova now as well on the right. Fresh from winning the Youth World Championships in Arco. That was already a month ago. Where is summer disappearing to? Sean Bailey. No tops yesterday, but a really strong performance, particularly on the second route. Pretty close to a top there.
You can really see how tricky the start of the women's route here. Watching
Nika.
Nika, yeah.
Ena od omenjenih predstavnica Ukrajine tudi v tem trenutku, Nika Potapova. First in Youth World Championships.
Yeah, as you say, look, that's only the second quick draw. It just takes so much figuring out.
Yeah, you don't want to rush it, or otherwise you just fall.
Is that something you really notice when you step up from youth competitions into the World Cups? The complexity of the routes and how punishing they are for if you make a mistake?
Especially the past few years, the routes are much more demanding because if you do just basic routes, route setters know we will all maybe get too high, and they all also want to challenge us with some really tricky movements, getting us uncomfortable on the routes. So that's what we also have to train at trainings, and now I'm not just training, for example, endurance when I'm training. I'm also trying to put some very weird movements in my circuits when I'm training on the wall. Oh, and I think she fell a bit like Molly did there. She also didn't grab the hold right.
Yeah, just never quite, I have to say, seemed to get comfortable. Never really looked like she got going. That's a shame for her. Let's have a look.
Yeah, I think it's. Oh no, she slipped from this hole.
Oh, a kind of dry fire with the right hand. Bit of an uncomfortable one. Sean Bailey. Sean McCall's a bit later on.
Not yet, yeah.
Not yet, yeah. As I say, I saw Sean McCall wandering late to the venue. You got the luxury of warming up a bit later if you're climbing later on in the semi-final. Sean Bailey would have been here much earlier. He is underway. He's about to be joined on the wall by his compatriot Kyra Condi. Good to see her in a lead semi-final. We see her generally having a little more success in the boulder, but she's in the lead semi-final today here in Kranj.
I can really see the tension. Oh, I couldn't hold the feet, but it's. You can really see you have to make a quick decisions with the feet, otherwise you get a bit pumped. And he was struggling to find the best position there, and ultimately slipped a bit from the feet there. Kyra is starting on the right side. I like to see Kyra climbing. She's so efficient when she's climbing. It's a very special type of climbing, I think.
I think one of the most entertaining climbers to watch,
It's
Kyra.
true. It's a bit nervous also to see her.
Yeah. Yeah, if you're a Kyra supporter, it must be a pretty nervous experience.
Yeah.
But she's one of those people, when she climbs, you know there'll be something to talk about, something to watch, something will happen. Yeah, always puts on a show, whatever it may be.
Yeah.
Super strong as well, Kyra. It'd be good to see her punch through onto the head wall.
You won't see her resting too much. She's really trying to make it the most efficient she can. I don't think she has much endurance either, being a bowler. So, but she's so efficient. She's making really quick decisions. I think she will be fresh when she arrives on this ball to do this move. Come on.
Yeah, I don't think she'll pause for long, Kyra. She just gets straight on with it and
Very
barely.
smoothly, yeah. Oh, come on. Pump is getting real. Come on.
Yeah, you can see she's getting pumped, but the move didn't look hard at all if you arrive with as much power as she's got.
Yeah, and she's just making really quick decisions. That's really what she has to do, and she's doing it perfectly. Come on. Keep going.
Kyra now doing great job. On the right side, Kyra Condi from United States of America.
Oh, that was great stuff from Kyra Condi. You could see she was getting pumped
Yeah, I think
a
she
few moves before,
Yeah, she really gave everything she had, I think.
but brilliant stuff. Just bashing her way up the route. Really entertaining. Luka Patosha now. A little early to say conclusively, but it seems like the route setters probably haven't been too far off with the level. The climbers coming in reverse order of how they qualified, so you would expect the stronger climbers to be coming later.
Yeah, it's always when the 10 last climbers start climbing that you actually can really say when the routes have been too hard or not. But yeah, I think the men's route is really hard on the start, and I'm not sure we will see a top, but
Yeah, there's a lot more climbing after what we've
there is still a
seen.
lot to see. Yeah.
Yuki Hiroshige of Japan climbing next. We were in Japan, of course, for much of August, and we will be back there in less than a month's time for the final lead World Cup of the season. Yuki getting underway on the women's route. Luka in front of an increasingly full hall here in Kranj.
He still seems very solid there.
So we saw Sean Bailey try to kind of cross through with the right hand. It looked a powerful way of doing it. It didn't work out, but I'm pretty sure you do need to match this. We saw Martin Bergant try not to match and go straight out to the right. He goes for the cross through, and although he made it stick, he couldn't stay on long enough to move out to the left. So here's Yuki. So that's traverse out to the left on the men's route, which we identified from the ground does actually seem to be the crux section.
Yeah, I think you have to make the right decisions on the right time. Oh, she's looking for the hold here. Come on.
Yeah, we lost Molly Thompson-Smith and Nika Potapova falling from that volume, but she's managed to find the way of getting the screw on top. Jim Pope of Great Britain's about to get underway on the men's route. I think, yeah, he's just come out onto the floor now. So he'll have his 40 seconds of individual observation time, and he'll be underway as well.
Representing Great Britain coming in the semi-final route, James Pope. Come on, James! Let's do it, James Pope.
So Yuki, I think now will get herself set. Oh, and the feet cut loose at just the wrong moment, and we lose her before she can get set. Might be slightly frustrated with that one. She was looking reasonably smooth up until that. Here's Jim Pope. Been going big on the gritstone in the last few weeks, Jim, over in Sheffield.
Perfect training.
Certainly good psychological training, yeah, that's for sure. It's quite funny actually. I was talking to Jim yesterday and he said, yeah, I've been on the grit. And I said, oh, you know, it's been okay. He said, yeah, it's good because it kind of puts competitions in perspective. The lack of protection on those gritstone routes, I think, puts life in perspective, that's for sure.
Yeah. Can remind him he has to clip all the quick draws now.
Yeah, it'll feel like there's a lot of protection compared to most of the routes he's been climbing recently, that's for sure.
Wow, very reachy for him here. It's not that's one of the tallest climbers. Come on, doesn't seem like to like this move. Wow.
Oh, that is not the performance Jim wants, and as you can see, actually almost clobbered Chasa Callan. Yeah, shame for Jim. He seemed to be going okay, and then just couldn't quite seem to get comfortable on that move. Never looked that convinced by it.
Just nice heel hook.
Yeah, very kind of unusual method.
Yeah, it's very unusual to get over the arm instead of behind.
She looked very composed yesterday, Chasa, I felt, in the qualifier. Really one of those people that just quietly got on with a very good performance.
Yeah, and I think all the Slovenians really want to be in shape for the Kranj World Cup. It's yeah, when you're climbing at home, you just, I think probably family, friends are here, so you really want to make it well and do a good performance.
When are we getting a Belgium World Cup?
Well, we used to have some in Kursk, but unfortunately they had to stop one day, so I think not for the moment. We had a nice European Youth Championship last year in the very center of Brussels. It was amazing to see. And hopefully we will have some other in Belgium very soon. Not sure World Cups, but maybe European competitions.
Chasa Callan actually just blowing her hand whilst pulling up on it.
Jessa is also a law student, I think, which makes her a colleague of mine. But and her boyfriend stopped competing some years ago and was also studying and working as well as being a climber. Come on. She knows the wall, so she should know all the structure and all the very unusual footholds. But for the rest, everything is new for her.
It would seem as well we'd lost a couple of climbers just getting set here. The move that she's just done and the next one are no joke either.
No.
You haven't got much for the feet. That top of that black volume that she's just left is very low friction.
She's searching for the clock, I think. But I think she has still some time to go. Losing her bib number, but that's no problem. If you start with the bib number, it's okay. So
Just lighten your load a bit.
yeah. Come on. Yeah, she looks very composed. Very nice beta here with a high heel hook.
Oh, that's really nice work from Chiasa Kalan.
So the second Slovenian getting past her very easily. I mean, not very easily, but
Yeah,
in a
I know what you mean.
smooth way.
So you see, she's the third climber now
Yeah,
onto this section.
true.
We saw Kyra Condi as well.
Yeah.
And Lana Skusek still leading the way by almost 10 moves. She powered through this section. Chiasa Kalan now the only climber on the wall. The men's route is empty as we wait for the cleaning break.
She's trying to keep going, but she has skipped the quick throw for the moment. Let's see what she's doing. Come on. Wow.
Powerful way of doing that move. She needs to get that quick draw clipped, as you mentioned. It's a slightly awkward one as well, kind of a longish tape. Means it just makes it a bit more awkward to clip than the short ones, but she's got it done, and she's going to go for a double clip from this position.
Which is a sign she still has something over and she can keep going. Come on. Those look really crimpy holes.
Pleased to say the lighting has changed this time, so we get a bit of a better look at this section.
Very weird pocket here, but wow, again, a very nice movement here from Chiasa. Come on.
It's one of the strange things about this wall here in Kranj. Climbers kind of become invisible as they disappear into the rafters, but we could see enough to know that Chiasa Kalan is climbing really well this weekend.
And I think she just tied Lana here on
Yes.
this move.
It was actually a while ago that Lana was climbing, but I think you're right. I think that was the same move.
So two Slovenians leading the way right now.
Yeah, and 3 of them still to come. Lučka Rakovic still to climb, Mia Kramble still to climb, and Janja Garnbrett as well. So here's how it stands right now. Now Monchwa leading the way. Rei Sugimoto in second place, Dmitry Fakirinov, Fedor Samoilov, Luka Potocza, Sean Bailey, Martin Berg and Angie Perhark, the top 8. Sadly for them, unlikely to stay that way. So that's how it stands at the top section of the men's rankings. It looks like we're going to have a Shima. I was speculating whether we would have 14 climbers before the cleaning break or after. It would appear we're going to have 14 before, because as I mentioned at the top of the broadcast, 27 women through to the semi-final. Fanny Gibert and Molly Thompson-Smith tied on both routes yesterday, and they ended up in joint 26, so they both go through.
So Ashima has the wall just for herself, which is always cool to have. I mean, I like to climb on my own, so you just can focus on your climbing. You don't have someone climbing next to you, but crowd can cheer only for her.
She actually ended up having a reasonable performance, Ashima, but I watched her on the right-hand route, which admittedly was the harder of the two. She looked like she ever really found her flow. She never looked that comfortable on the route. It was one of those routes where it's hard to look comfortable, but I'm interested to see what she can do here. Because yesterday, for whatever reason, yeah, it just didn't quite seem the Ashima we know.
Looking for the hole here. Come on. High on the right. Yeah, she got it.
Sporting a new hair colour here. I don't want to say grey. It's greyish.
Grayish, I guess.
Greyish, yeah. Goes well with the USA uniform anyway. Yeah, so as I say, Shima finds herself all alone on the wall. We're halfway through the men's semi-final. And pretty much halfway through the women's as well. Be good to see someone have a really good battle with the top section of the wall. We've got a camera, by the way, that can see the top section of that wall. When we lost Tiasa Callan and Lana Skusek, and they were kind of disappearing from sight. Don't worry, we do have another camera. We will be able to see the top section of the wall if somebody manages to find a way up there.
Nice job for Shima Shiriashi now. In this part of the route, come on. Ale, Shima!
So those volumes have friction on the other side of the wall, of the hold, but they are plastic on the side we can see. That's what makes them awful for climbers.
I was
to be
wondering,
honest.
I was wondering what word you were going to use then.
I'm just being honest.
Got to call it like it is.
No, but they are tricky, and they force you to use some holds you just don't want to use. So I guess they are nice to use for route sitters.
Shima climbing quite slowly here, but that's not necessarily a problem. Making every move count. I thought she was going to go underneath her left arm there.
Yeah.
As it is, goes over the top. And now we'll begin to bump out left once she's got the clip done.
Let's see what beta she's using here. She's going for the toe hook.
Kind of a double toe hook. You'd imagine she'll probably need to release one of them before she goes, or is she going to try and keep it there?
Probably the left one, yeah. Using the structure.
Wow. And she also falls on 20 plus. So that 20 plus move's causing a few problems, but I'm relieved to see that a few climbers have found their way through it. So the routes will get a little clean now from the route setting team, led by Christian Bindhammer. Yeah, led by Christian Bindhammer, the German climbing legend, our route setting team here in Kranj. And here's how it stands. We had a look at this earlier. This is the men's semi-final. Provisional results from Noel Monchois, who I believe was the subject of an appeal, and it obviously wasn't successful. He holds onto his lead, and he's ahead of Ray Sugimoto, Dmitry Fakirionov, Fedir Samoilov, Luka Potočar, Sean Bailey, Martin Bergant, and Angie Perhag. I'm sure Slovenia would be pretty happy with that as a final 8, with 2 of their climbers through. 3, excuse me. And you can see there Jim Pope, Jakub Konechny, and Will Bosey, all of whom fell pretty low down, just figuring out a bit of a powerful sequence on the men's route. Hopefully we've got fully updated scores for the women. They're the climbers still to come, of course. Jakob Schubert, Alberto Hunes, Lopez Kai Harada, Kokora Fuji, Adam Andra, and Stefano Gasolfi. Stefano, who won here last year, 2018, looking for another win. Tiasa Callan and Lana Skusek leading the way. Again, I think Slovenia would be pretty happy with these results right now. Kyra Conley and Ashima currently in 3rd and 4th, so Slovenia 1 and 2, America 3 and 4, and then Noah Ark, Julia Fisser, Catherine Chong, and Elnaz Rakabi. You can see big tie on that 20 plus move. It's where we also lost Ashima, who is currently the highest ranked of those on the 20 plus. For Tabarito, Yuki Hiroshiga, Nika Potapova, and Molly Thompson-Smith rounding out the lower half as it stands right now. Eloise Dumont will be out next. And as you can see there, Annette Verhoeven, Loet's compatriot, will be out. 3rd to last, and it's Janja Gambra and I. Mori. Mia Krampel as well will be climbing a bit later on. One person we should mention, by the way, is Vita Lucan. If you're wondering where she is, she has damaged her ACL. We are still waiting to hear. Apparently she's got an operation in 10 days' time. She's going to find out whether it's a full ACL tear, which would be pretty disastrous, or just a partial tear, which might not be the end of the world looking ahead to the Olympics. So that is one Slovenian we are missing this weekend. But Like, going back to your compatriots, Eloise Dumont, you said you've been climbing with her recently. She's looking pretty strong.
She's looking really strong. She improved her level since July. She's been training in Innsbruck. She's really in a good shape. She's willing to qualify for Toulouse this year, so I think she's in her best shape actually.
Yeah, and also we'll be seeing Anna Verhoeven, who I mentioned earlier on. Still got this mystery, I don't even want to call it an injury. I talked to her yesterday, a problem with her arm. There's some sort of problem with one of her arms, but she still seems to have enough strength in reserve to still climb really well.
Yeah, she's been very unlucky with this injury. She's been going for several physiotherapists, doctors. There's been improvement in her injury, so it's going better, but it's not very really disappearing for the moment. But she's still really, really strong. I've been seeing her at trainings, and she's still really in shape. It's just that she wants to be really careful with it.
Yeah, I mean, originally we understood it was an elbow injury, but it seems it's now the whole arm. And I was talking to Anna yesterday, and she was speculating, that, or the physios have been speculating that maybe it's something to do with a slight twist in her torso. It's a bit of a strange one, but really good to see her back and good to see her climbing well yesterday in the qualifiers. Hopefully she can give everything she's got. We have to mention as well, Mori.
Amazing.
Never lets go. The only person that topped both routes yesterday, and she was really impressive in Hachioji as well.
Yeah, she was very solid on both routes. She just stopped them, and she seems like she's been training endurance, I guess, past few weeks. So yeah, it's been going to be really interesting to see.
Of all the things she didn't need to train, endurance was one of them. In Hachioji, you might remember she made, was it in the combined final or the lead? But she made quite a bad mistake low down, looked completely gassed, and then just kept going.
Kept going. Yeah, it seems like she's not getting pumped at all when she's climbing.
What a lovely problem to have.
Yeah.
I'm just flicking over to the men's start list as well. A lot of stories. Marcello Bombardi and Jesse Gruppa will be out next. And then we've got Romain de Grange. He's never won here in Kranj. He's been competing here since 2005.
Wow.
And a bit lower down, Sean McCall. Made the final in Hachioji, always seems to go well here in Kranj, a previous winner. But look at this lower down the list, we've got Sebastian Halenka, he's also won here, Jakob Schubert, Alberto Hunez Lopez. Anyone who jumps out for you on the men's side?
No, it's just such a strong field, and I think they can all do something really good, so we'll see, honestly.
And Alberto, he's been winning a lot of fans this year with that battling style.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed watching him. What's been your impressions of him in 2019?
For me, he's been just so impressive doing all these competitions, and I don't know how he's doing to just keep going and keeping it so keeping the shape so well. Because when you're doing all this competition in the youth, in the seniors category, I don't know how he's training in between all those competitions, but somehow he seems to be still young and still very strong. So. He has also a lot of endurance, and also in the bouldering field he's strong. So very complete athletes, I would say.
A real all-rounder. And speaking of all-round athletes, we've got Adam Andra, who of course slightly high-profile casualty from Hachioji, didn't go his way. In your experience, when you have a disappointing result like Adam had in Hachioji, how long does it take before you can just get over it and everything's back to normal?
I think it depends on the climber, but maybe it can be the next day if you can also just think, okay, it didn't go well, but I mean for Adam, it wasn't really a climbing mistake, it was just he stepped on a bolt in Japan, and okay, it's frustrating, but it doesn't mean anything for your confidence regarding climbing, so I think he's just psyched to keep competing, and it won't affect him, I think.
Okay, well he will be out second to last, and then Stefano Ghisolfi will be out last. I'm just looking over, it looks like the cleaning break is actually done over on the men's side, not quite finished on the women's. One little thing about the cleaning break, do you think there is a small advantage to climbing after the cleaning break, or...
I think 13 climbers climbing is not so much, so it's quite okay. But there might be advantage depending on the route. If it's a route where you have slopey holes that you really want to have clean, it might really make a difference as well for some, depending on the structure of the wall, depending on the country, if it's a very sweaty environment, so it can make a difference.
We shall see. It's pretty cool here in the Kranj venue. So may not be a huge advantage, but we will shortly find out. Jessie Grupper will be out next on the men's side, and it's Eloise Dumont who we discussed. She'll be the 15th climber out. We had 14 before the cleaning break on the women's, and Eloise Dumont, I thought was about to head out onto the stage. Should be here any second.
I'll try to not scream too much in the micro for her.
It's fine. You can fanboy away.
Torej zgodba Gregorja Selaka, člana slovenske paraplezalne reprezentance, z izjemnim filmom, ki si ga velja ogledati, režiserjev Mihe Kapčiča, Tineta Škrbeca in Aljaša Tepine oriše življenjsko pot Gregorja Selaka, vrhunskega športnega plezalca in člana slovenske paraplezalne reprezentance. S filmom bomo tudi vstopili v popoldanski finalni del, ki se bo začel potem z uradno predstavitvijo ženskih finalist ob 17:15, moški finale nekoliko kasneje, predstavitev finalistov ob 18:25.
So just to let you know, apparently Noah Monchois was marked down. The latest score we saw, the one that you just flashed up on your screen, showed him as a 27.5 plus. Apparently he has now been marked down. I'm just looking at our scores have updated, but he was marked down for touching a or using a bolt. Let's have a look. Yeah, there it is. And he moves down to 10th. That's a heartbreaker for him. Seems like I don't remember many treading on the bolt incidents, and now he seems to get them all the time.
Yeah, I mean, it's been there for years actually. It's not the first time that it happens, but
seems like we're having a run of them right now.
Yeah, it's just
slightly frustrating, obviously,
it is
for the climbers, but also us watching on. We want to just see how far someone can get, and their score is their score. But by the same token, the rules are the rules. And if you tread on a bolt, you've broken the rules. So it's a shame for all involved, but that is how it goes. So Eloise Dumont now will get climbing, and as I say, Jessie Grupper of the United States will be out on the men's route. So yeah, Loic, you can fanboy away.
Yes. Come on, Elo. I'm gonna be really nervous for the few.
Do you guys train at the same wall?
Not really. We have several walls in Belgium where we all go, but we have a different trainer. So we don't really train together, but we are sometimes climbing at the same gym. So, and we are all good friends in Belgium, so we know each other very well.
Yeah, I guess it's kind of like Slovenia in that respect. You can drive 2 hours and be anywhere in Belgium.
Oh yeah, less than 2 hours.
Eloise Dumont iz Belgije lani v Kranju na 15. mesto. This year, 15th place here in World Cup Run competition. 24. na tekmah svetovnega pokala v težavnosti v Vilarju, 26. Chamonix, 22. Briançon.
Ali, she has some fresh holes, so hopefully this will help her getting through these tricky movements.
So just so you know, now that the scores have updated, it is Rei Sugimoto who leads the way on the men's side.
So this is the tricky part here for Eloise. Come on, Ali. Yeah, she got the hole directly right, which is very good.
Jessie Grupper looking like he's just not quite sure of reading the move. Actually, when he went, it was fine, but he didn't look that convinced by it.
Come on, Jessie! Come on, Jessie!
Again,
doesn't like
Doesn't
the
look
move
like
there,
yeah, it doesn't look like he quite wants to go for it. Oh, and tried to cross through. It looked like he went up with the left hand and realised he wasn't in balance.
Yeah, you really have to stay in balance all the time there.
Let's have another look. There's a move before as well where he didn't look that comfortable. So he goes up with the left and I think felt himself moving and thought, right, I better go.
That's where you see all the body tension. You have to really. Oh, I didn't see that coming.
No, I think we were just watching a replay of Jesse. I'm just looking at the quick draws.
I'm guessing at the cross move or this one. Oh, she didn't grab it right.
Shame for Eloise Dumont. You can see disappointed, as you said. She's been looking in good shape recently.
Yeah, she was such in a good shape. It's really frustrating. She couldn't climb at her best here.
Marcello Bombardi will be next out on the men's route, and we'll have Jane Kim. Still holds the record for most World Cup wins of anyone ever, despite the Janja Garnbret chasing her down, it would seem. But Jane won here last year, a multiple Kranj winner, climbing alongside another World Cup winner, Marcello Bombardi. 2017 he won in Chamonix, wasn't it?
Yeah.
You were in the final, if memory serves me right.
I remember.
That must be some experience climbing in the Chamonix final.
Chamonix crowd is crazy. It's amazing. And I remember telling Marcelo he had won.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh,
And he couldn't believe it, of course.
made the final here last year, Marcello Bombardi. They couldn't really be more contrasting, Marcello and Jane. Marcello just kind of, it just looks like it's a battle when he climbs. He's got a great style, like really, really battling, almost aggressive style.
Yeah,
and
very powerful.
Yeah, exactly. And then you got Jane Kim, who's just the smoothest climber you could ever see.
Yeah.
So we've got real contrasting routes and real contrasting styles of climbers on the wall right now. Jane Kim, by the way, just got underway. Top one of the routes yesterday, Jane Kim didn't have a great performance than the others. She 21 plus, which put her ranked her 24th. So not great on the second one, but top of the first route, comfortably into the semi-finals.
Marcelo is safely through this tricky sequence here. He made a good use of toe hooks. I hope we'll see a bit more of the men's routes now. Still looking very solid.
Yeah, this is a route you think might suit Marcello.
Yeah, I think so. Here is this tricky sequence where you really have to make a quick choice with your feet, because there are feet on the left, on the right, and you don't want to waste time at choosing one. He's going for the right one, which we haven't. Yeah.
Oh, Marcello Bombardi will be furious with himself. He looked like he had plenty left. Looked like he had loads of energy. Just didn't quite get it right.
Yeah, and for the moment, every climber going right hand fell there. So it seems like going left hand is the way to go.
Jane Kim doing what Jane Kim does. Climbing smoothly, precisely. I haven't actually seen the up-to-date rankings, but she could do with some big results, Jane Kim. Looking ahead to Toulouse and the Olympic selection event, because it's only 20 climbers who qualify from that. And you take your 2 best results in each discipline, so your 2 best boulder results, 2 best speed, 2 best lead. Jane Kim could really do with some podiums.
Looking for the best foothold here.
Talk about 2 legends on the wall. Romain Desgrange has joined Jane Kim now. Never won here in Kranj, Romain Desgrange. As I said earlier, first competed in a World Cup here in 2005, 14 years ago.
Yeah, 2 legends on a legendary wall. It's nice to see that they're still at that level.
Well, it's amazing. If
After
you
so
come
many
here 10
years.
years ago, you'd have seen Jane Kim and Romain Desgrange on the same wall.
That's amazing.
Here we are. Climbing wouldn't be the same without these 2. This is quite a big move now for Jane Kim.
Yeah, she's going for the toe hook. But she has so much power on the upper body that she's just climbing it through pretty easily. She doesn't seem pumped at all.
Yeah, it was great work for Jane Kim. It kind of looked like an alligator, just like grabs something and pulls it in. Right, come here. Just grab the hold, absolutely certain. Got the precision, got the power. She's safely through it.
You can see how steep this wall is with her chalk back and the quick draws hanging. You really have to have so much body tension. It seems they don't have, but actually they're like this swing here, it just proves it. Romain is getting to the tricky sequence, but he's going with the maybe better hand for this sequence. Now finding the best feet solution. Oh, and he's going feet first. That's the first time we see this. Come on. Whoa.
Oh, this is a powerful way of doing it for Romain Desgrange. I
I'm
think
not
he's
sure how he's getting out of this. Oh.
I get the impression as soon as he matched with the both hands, he kind of realized he was in a bad position.
Yeah, he's kind of locked there.
So let's focus on Jane Kim. It's the hold that's just left of that hanging quick draw. That's the hold climbers have been gunning for.
So this is what I call the frog position, when you are standing like this.
She makes it look pretty comfortable.
Yeah, it can be, I think. Here it's the weird bucket, seems like a 2 or 3 finger bucket. And that's where we lost our 2 other Slovenian climbers and Jaini as well. It seems like it's a very big lock-off move where you have to be really, really fresh if you want to do it, to make it.
That's not really the shot we need. We could have a look at that hold.
And you can really see she was standing on just on friction there, so you don't really have any foothold at all. So it's all on upper body and just locking with your arms.
Here's Martin Stranik. I was trying to read Jane Kim's reaction. It looked the kind of the shake of the head and the annoyance. Was that directed at the route setters, you think? It looked like she was kind of looking for someone. I don't know.
I don't know, it seems more like she was maybe not pumped and just frustrated.
Yeah, maybe.
She felt not being really pumped, and
I just had the impression she kind of looked in the crowd for someone. I don't know, maybe.
she's often looking for her coach or her team, I think, to know if she did well, if it's enough.
So Martin Stranik now. It is a 34 plus, by the way, for Jane Kim. She moves into first place on count back to her performance yesterday in the qualifiers. So, yeah, more than 10 climbers still to go. So certainly not guaranteed a place in the final, Jane Kim. She can only watch from here on out. Martin Stranik, a bit like Marcello Bombardi, immensely powerful climber, super strong boulderer.
imamo seveda med polfinalistkami Laura Logora.
Laura Gora's just got climbing on the women's route. A couple of quick draws up. Let's stick with Martin Stranek.
I think he's also aiming for a position in the Toulouse events this year. So still some competitions to go. And he's doing, yeah, the best sequence, I think, for here. He seems, yeah, quite solid on his movements.
It seems like one of those sequences where it's possible to overthink it.
Yeah. So now you have to put some space on the hole so you can put a heel hook after, which seems like he's doing. So that's the right choice, I think. Heel hook, and now he's going to this hold. Oh, it's looking really good. Come on.
Martin Stranek bashing his way out to the left. It's a great performance from him. It looks like he's read the sequences absolutely perfectly, and he's about to head up into the head wall. This is the lead already for Martin Stranek, and he looks like he's got a bit left, but the moves do not let up here, and it looked like the foot slipped just the wrong moment, but that'll put Martin Stranek in the lead.
Martin Stranek, za aplauzom mislim, da bo sedaj prevzel vodstvo v moškem delu tekmovanja, mi pa pogled na desno, Laura Logora. Ale Laura. Prihaja pa prvi eden in edini predstavnik Kanade.
Laura Gora still low down on the women's route. You can see those two dual texture volumes. She's on the volume where sadly we lost Molly Thompson-Smith. Sean McColl, the next climber out on the men's side. A man who knows this Kranj wall pretty well. Former winner here.
Yeah, Laura is already having quite of a rest here very early on the route, which is really a sign that the start of the route is really tricky and demanding.
Already fifth place in this year World Championship in Japan in lead competition. Pa zmagovalec tekme svetovnega pokala na slovenskih tleh Lok Dragomir. Zmagovalec Kranja leta 2011.
Doesn't look that comfortable, Laura. You can see her kind of shaking as she pops out to the right.
5 zmag svetovnega pokala ima ta odličen kanadski predstavnik Sean McColl. Ale Laura! Ale, ale!
Laura now needs to set up. And getting set up has proved difficult for a few climbers.
Yeah, it's very reachy for her, I think, this movement. Come on.
Here's Sean McColl, 8 years on from his win here in Kranj. Slightly awkward lower moves on the men's route. So Laura's done well there. Needs to get out to the left hand of those two yellow balls, then get herself set and then bump up with the right hand.
Oh, and she's going for the heel hook, which was the best bet, I think, for the moment when we saw Chasa using it.
Climbers pretty much right next to each other. Laura Gora safely through that 20+ move.
Sean is also climbing very efficiently for the moment, making the right choices. Let's see what she's... That's also a good choice, I think.
Climbers almost mirroring each other there, the left leg firing out behind them as they swing. Laura Gora looking really handy here on this women's route. Sean got himself in quite a powerful position. The feet cut loose, but he manages to get them back on and sticks a heel hook on for good measure.
Come on, Laura.
Laura Rigori, you can see, I think the pump beginning to kick in pretty badly now, but she'll get a bit of a change as she pulls onto the change of angles. Sean McCall going well as well.
He missed the hole. He missed the hole.
Yeah, I think he was just short on it, wasn't he? Maybe just to the right of it.
Yeah, just to the right of it. Not sure he could see the hole there, so that's why Martin went firstly to the top of the volume and then lowered his hand down to be sure he didn't miss it, I think.
Laura should stop. The time is finished.
Oh, and Laura timed out here.
Laura Rigori, we just heard,
Yeah,
just heard the MC say, Laura, please stop, the time is up. She took a long rest,
yeah,
very low down. That's
I
hole
think
12, I think it is.
yeah, she's paying the price of taking so much time very low there.
So in first place, Martin Stranik. Second, Sean McCall. Third race, Sugimoto.
So Taisei Homer, next climber out. You can just see in there, front of the wall of Team Japan. That's a shame for Laura Rigori. Felt like she had a little bit left.
Yeah, and you could think 6 minutes is a lot for a wall like Kranj, but if it's a really tricky route and you have to take time to climb, then it might actually be not enough.
Meiko Taki will be the next climber out on the women's route. Good to see Meiko Taki back in the World Cups, especially in the lead. Consistent finalist when she takes part in the Boulder World Cups. Looking forward to seeing her in the lead World Cup. May was actually in Arco during the Youth World Championships. It's quite amusing actually. The last time I saw May, she was on the Roman Bridge in Arco, trying to psych herself up to jump into the river.
Oh, this is the famous
famous bridge.
Famous
With
bridge where everyone's jumping.
Yeah. And I actually said to it, "You're going to jump in the end. You might as well just jump now." And she actually jumped. So yeah, I managed to.
I think it's mental training actually for jumps in routes.
Yeah, actually, when she jumped, I did look at her and think, "Oh, what if she, injures herself or something?" And I've just talked her into jumping, but all's well that ends well. So yeah, nice to see Meiko Taki back in the lead World Cup action. As I say, after seeing her in jumping off bridges into rivers action.
Can really see how much control you need here to not fall off of this sequence in the start of this blue semi-final. Not enough control apparently for Taisei.
Meiko Taki actually needs to get that clip done pretty soon. She's still relatively close to the ground, gets it done now.
Her leg is also behind the rope, but that's okay.
Sebastian Halenko will be the next climber out. Looking forward to seeing him.
Yeah, me too.
Over on the men's side. Sticking with Meiko Taki now, heading up into these dual textures.
Bomo pozdravili in seveda ga tudi prepoznali po njegovi odlični pričeski, ki uporablja tudi izredno aerodinamično plezanje. Tole je kranjski zmagovalec, the big Kranj champion, Sebastian Halenke from Germany.
May just having a look at the clock as she gets herself set up for a shorter climber like May or Laura Rigori. This is quite a long move now.
She's making also use of a nice knee bar there and to take some rest and also clear her mind, I guess.
So May will get herself out here to the left ball. Which method will she use? We think the heel hook is the best method.
But we've seen toes working as well. But
and it works for May.
Yeah, a bit more upper body strength there.
It's good stuff for May Kataki.
Some very powerful moves here.
Yeah, she's onto these dual texture volumes. As I say, the white bit is low friction, black bit is high friction. May Kataki kind of hugging with the left leg there.
Using with everything she has. Come on.
Beginning to look a little pumped now, May Kataki. Needs to get that quick draw clipped if at all possible, but we saw Tiasa Kalan get in exactly this position and get the next clip done as well. I wonder if May Kataki is going to do the same thing. Choosing to kind of shake out. It's not a massive hold, that one, but it is flat. So if you've got decent crimp strength, you can get a little bit of a rest off it. Needs to get the feet engaged somewhere here, May Kataki, and not stand on the rope as well. And also needs to get that clip done.
Yeah. Wow, that's...
oh, that is impressive flexibility.
Yeah.
Oh, that's fantastic.
Yeah, very smart climbing there. She's in this kind of corner where you can have a kind of rest. And unfortunately, we lose Sebastian on the semi-final route. We'll see a replay after, I guess.
Yeah, we didn't really catch Sebastian Halenke, but he has fallen. May Kataki looking super strong and sticks that move with the right hand. Now she goes up with the left and she's about to hit the brief horizontal section of wall. Slaps up as Jane Kim did, as Tiasa Kalan and Lana Skusak did, and cannot stick hold 35. So it's a tie on 34 plus as it stands right now. You can see there Basti Halenke not looking very amused at something. This was his first semi-final appearance. He's been 28th and 29th in his 2 appearances this year. Talk about bad luck. Yeah. And semi-final has not gone his way today. The scene of his first and, as it stands, only World Cup win. Let's have another look. Where was he? That quick draw on the right was the last one swinging when I looked over, so I'm guessing he fell here.
Yeah, I don't really understand because it didn't seem to be the hardest move for other climbers, so I'm not sure what happened there.
Jakob Schubert now on the wall, or about to be on the wall, I should say, and Lučka Rakovic as well. He said this place feels like a second home, Kranj. He's been here so many times. As you say, it hosted youth competitions. Jakob's been here countless times.
Also one of the most consistent climbers I know of the circuit.
What a World Championships he had as well.
Yeah, amazing.
Picked up 3 medals in 3 disciplines. Quite extraordinary, really. Lučka's been racking up good results after good results as well.
Yeah, Slovenia as a whole seems like they just train together, it seems, and they all improve year after year.
Včeraj odlična 9. v kvalifikacijah, tole je Lučka Rakovec. Gremo Luči!
Jakob is very in control here, which is really necessary for those movements. Using the side of the wall here, also very useful.
No problem really for either climber just yet. We're not too far off being able to confirm some finalists here actually. That was the move where we lost Basti Halenka. No problem at all for Jakob.
Well, actually, in the men's category, we can already say 1 or 2 finalists, I think, because there are only...
Oh, there's only 5 to go. Wow, where's
Yeah.
the semi-final gone?
It's actually pretty... Yeah, the men's semi-final is so straight, you can't really have a lot of rest, except maybe here a little bit, so it's going quite quick. Jakob is having a really good rest here. On this pretty hard semi-final, for the moment I think the highest climber is went up to the 30th hole, so
There's a lot of climbing above that as well.
he's going for the best sequence I think here.
Seems to have read this to perfection. Jakob Schubert
Yeah.
uses a heel hook and a little toe hook just to take the weight off his arms slightly.
He'll need to make some space for the heel here. Yes, that's how, come on. Wow, that was, come on, and now go on the right spot. No, he misses it, but he's in control. This is crazy power.
Basically, yeah, completely missed the hold.
Any climber would have fallen there, but Jakob just locks it.
Pretty much sure he's climbed his way into the final here, Jakob Schubert. Lučka Rakovic won't be too far off as well.
Come on.
Oh, Jakob Schubert definitely climbed his way into the final, almost disappearing from view from this camera. Powering his way through it. Countback could be key here, of course, so there's no point not fighting with everything you've got. And Jakob Schubert always does that. He's safely into the final by miles. Lučka Rakovic, meanwhile, sticks hold 35. That's the lead for her. She's been climbing so well recently. She'll head out right now onto the smiley face that the route setters have made on that yellow ball.
Great fight here, come on. She's going feet first. She hasn't clipped yet. Come on.
Yeah, she needs to find a plan to clip here.
Making a great use of the heel hook. She has to swing around somehow.
So Lučka Rakovic, I'm just looking how many climbers are still to come after her.
Still a couple, I think. Come on.
Still 8 to go. So she won't have guaranteed herself a place in the final, but surely she's done enough. This is a fantastic performance.
Using toe hooks in this roof. Oh, and she didn't stick it, but amazing fight here. So 2 high points on both routes now. It's getting really interesting.
Yeah, now we're really getting to the sharp end of the semi-final. Alberto Gines Lopez wanders out onto the stage. It'll be Mina Markavitch, 4-time winner here in Kranj, who'll be next on the women's side.
Mina is also quite of a legend here in Kranj and in the climbing community, so it's also really nice to still seeing her at this level after so many years at the highest level. And Alberto on the other side is one of the youngest generation.
Yeah, last year in Kranj was her 10th final in a row here for Mina, looking to make it 11. I mean, if you've made 11 World Cup finals, you've had a good career, let alone 11 at the same venue. So, yeah, always seems to bring her A game, Mina Markavitch, when she climbs in her home country. Let's keep an eye on Alberto Gines Lopez. Mina's underway. Alberto's over on the left. So Alberto Hines Lopez, the 5th to last climb, which means that the top 3 know they'll be climbing this evening. As it stands, that's Jakob Schubert, Martin Stranack and Sean McColl.
He's climbing very well for the moment. Pops his left foot on the left there. Using the side of the wall, which has been a very effective solution for the moment for every climber. Even with the hands.
How will Alberto read this sequence? That was the move where we lost Sebastian Halenka. Got that sorted. Mina Markavitch, meanwhile, is heading up to the 2 dual texture holds.
He's going for the left hand, which is, I think, the best option here. Looking for a right foothold. Very nice body tension here. Come on. Cutting loose, but somehow still on the wall. Come on.
Wow. Strong stuff from Alberto.
Yeah, that's, I think, very energy demanding, but he has a lot of endurance, and I wouldn't be surprised if he's still fighting for a lot of more moves. Come on.
Yeah, if he can get past, if he can get to 27 plus, he'll guarantee his place in the final.
Oh, also misses the hole, but now he's right on it.
Yeah, and that is him in the final by my maths. Goes up with the left hand, Alberto, and we lose him just there, but I'm pretty sure he's done enough for a place in the final. Let's keep an eye now on Mina Markavitch. You're never quite sure which Mina is going to turn up. Sometimes she seems to struggle a little bit with route reading, but
struggling a bit here. But making a great use of the structure of the wall. She knows the hole by heart, I guess, by now.
There's not many parts of this Kranj wall she won't have used before.
I mean, all the holes and all the volumes are obviously new, but the structure doesn't change, so that's the only thing she can rely on. That she's sure it won't change. I know that Mina doesn't really like heel hooks, she's more of a toe hook climber. So I'm not surprised she's using a double toe hook here.
Setting up for this 20 plus move, doesn't look that convinced by it.
No, but she's, yeah, it seems like she doesn't really know what to choose. Come on. Oh.
We lose Mina on 20 plus, and that is not going to be enough for a place in the final. As it stands right now, it'll put her in 8th, but it would seem very unlikely that she would stay there. And she breaks her run of finals in Kranj. One thing to be aware of, by the way, we've got a 4-way tie between 2nd and 5th in the women's competition on 34 plus. So if that tie ends up getting moved down the order, we could end up with a lot of women in the final.
Yeah, true.
Just lucky if anyone's actually tied from the qualifier as well.
Yeah, there are 7 women to go, and only 4 male climbers to go.
Yeah, Alberto Hines Lopez, by the way, has climbed himself into 3rd place.
So probably Sean McColl will have a spot in the finals as well.
Yeah, Sean's safely through. Yeah, because he's top 4 with only 4 to go. So Sean's in. Alberto's in, Martin Stranack's in, and Jakob Schubert is in as well. Kai Harada, the 2018 Boulder World Champion, gets underway. And his compatriot Natsumi Hirano is climbing as well. All Japan on the wall right now.
Japan taking over, which seems like something we've heard before this year or the previous years.
I'm just slightly amused that earlier I was saying, well, they haven't really brought their A-team. Here they are.
letos četvrti in fourth place in this
Such a strong team. Of course, Rei Sugimoto is currently sitting in 5th, so they could end up with a finalist who's already climbed, Kai Harada. Their penultimate climber on the men's side.
Z letnico rojstva 2002, 17-letna mlada predstavnica Japonske. Zmagovalka med mladimi.
The start of the route didn't seem super hard for Kai. He's also going for the left hand here.
Now is he going to try? It looks to me like he might be planning to cross through, which is quite a powerful way of doing it. Makes it work though.
This is really the powerful sequence of the route, and then you just get to a crimpy sequence where you have to, not be pumped and make the right choices.
Natsumi, by the way, is just 3 or 4 moves. She's about to get set up, heading for the 20+ move. But we'll stick with Kai Harada because if he can latch the next hold, that'll be him in the final. There it is.
Nice work now for Kai Harada.
Looking like he's got plenty left as well.
He looks super solid and super fresh there. Still resting on some very small crimps.
Yeah, Kai Harada in cruise mode here.
Right side. Come on, Natsumi.
Doesn't seem struggling at all.
Najviše do sedaj.
Kai Harada looking as strong as anyone in this semi-final.
And he's
absolutely smashed his way into the final already.
Climbing pretty perfectly, except this clip he doesn't do. Oh, this was the first mistake he made on the route, but for the rest, he had a really perfect go on this one.
Natsumi, meanwhile, has obviously done that 20+ move.
Natsumi.
So after Natsumi Hirano, we've got 6 climbers. She's the 7th to last climber, which means that Eloise Dumont will be into the final. Natsumi going pretty well. Looked like she was getting a little bit gassed, a bit lower down, maybe got a little bit back on the angle change. So this 34+ that's been causing all sorts of problems is coming up now. It's up to that big yellow holder just to the left of the next quick draw.
Let's see how much power she has left to do this one. Come on. Yes, nice.
No problem at all. That's 35 for her. That should be her in the final.
Wow, now she was really getting pumped. Nice fall.
Yeah, quite a dramatic fall. Instantly looks to the coaches, I think, to check if she's done enough. She has done enough. Let's have another look. Her compatriot Kokoro Fuji's climbing over on the left. Tried to cross through. That's a really powerful way to do that.
Yeah, we saw Lushka earlier using her heel hook, going feet first, which seemed to be a much more controlled way to do this sequence.
So Kokoro Fuji climbing now.
Topped both routes yesterday and seemed to have no problem at all.
Yeah, Kai Harada also topped both routes yesterday, as did Alberto Hines Lopez, both of whom have already climbed. And then Adam Andra and Stefano Gasolfi, the other 2 climbers who topped both routes. So it was 5 double tops in the men's qualifiers. Yeah, Kokoro looked immense.
Yep.
Who will be joining Tomoa in the Olympic Games from Team Japan? Tomoa and Akio, I should say.
Yeah, it seems like any Japanese climber could join them. It's going to be very... I don't want to be Japanese right now.
They should just do a lottery, I mean, really.
It's really, really hard. Hard to say.
Kind of feels like it might come down to Kokoro and Kai, maybe.
Yeah. But then there is still Tomoa's brother, Meichi.
Yes, who didn't have a great day yesterday. He's here in Kranj, he just didn't have a good day. Ray, of course, is climbing well, might even be in the final here, depending on what happens with the remaining 3 climbers. Cheon-Surt now of South Korea. Won 2 of the 3 lead World Cups we've had so far in 2019. What can she do in Kranj on Janja Garnbret's home turf? Kokoro
very easily through this sequence.
Yeah, and can secure himself a place in the final by getting that next blue hold. Again,
Yes.
misses it, but it doesn't seem to matter.
No, yeah.
So Kokoro not quite as high up as Kai Harada, Jakob Schubert, but he's done enough for a place in the final. That's him safely through. So we can focus on Cheon. Topped one of the routes yesterday, Cheon. It's only Ai Mori that managed to top both on the women's side. 5 climbers to come after Cheon: Jessie Pilz, Mia Krampel, Annette Verhoeven, Janja Garnbret and Ai Mori.
She has a quite different style of climbing from Jain's climbing style. She has a bit more powerful style. She's cutting loose a bit more often.
Yeah, for sure she was the story of July at the IFSC. Came seemingly from nowhere to win 2 of the first 3 World Cups and was second in the other one.
It's amazing how she's handling all those competitions at her very young age.
Safely through that 20 plus move, that's 21 for her. Needs to get up to that 34 plus move if she wants to guarantee her place in the final right now. Adam Andra just got underway on the men's route, or is about to get underway. She's currently standing on the floor at the bottom of the route.
And Chaeyoung is going for a very powerful sequence here. She doesn't seem to like the heel hook. Come on, she's struggling a bit here, it seems like. Come on. She's not knowing what to do with her feet. But still, that's a very unusual position to see. But it somehow works.
I don't really know how to describe that. It's kind of a knee bar, but
It's
you need
I think we call it a kind of double knee bar. Because she's using both legs.
a really unusual one. We've seen a few weird positions today.
But I think she knows her body very well, which
Yeah.
makes her a very good climber, and can really see it.
Yeah, very effective climber, that's for sure. Adam seems to be untroubled so far on the men's route. Cheon now getting up towards the 34 plus move. Needs to get that quick draw clipped before too long. Oh, has it clipped? Sorry,
It's
my
clipped, yeah.
apologies. Hard to know who to watch here. Adam as he approaches the crux, or Cheon as she approaches the crux. Almost in the same shot on the bottom right, and they are in the same shot on the left. Chern in that frog position.
Adam is going for the best solution that we've seen for the moment. He seems to have no problem at all with this sequence. Just have to do a couple more moves to make it to the finals. Making some space for the heel hook, going for this small crimp. One more move to go, but it seems like he's not going to have too much problem.
No, that's Adam safely into the final. That's hold 28. That's all he needed. But depending on the route we get this evening, countback could be key. So you want to get every move done that you can. So both climbers now getting themselves set. Cheon needs to latch this next hold to guarantee her place in the final. There it is. She's safely through. Both climbers into the final and now just trying to get the best score they can. Should point out, of course, that they don't know they're in the final. But we do. Both of them will climb this evening. Both of them climbing, disappearing into the rafters here.
Cheon grabbing both eyes of the smile here, which is pretty cool. Wow, that's a nice swing to grab this toe hook. Adam also going on the last part of the wall.
Cheon just left the feet behind there and was going hands only. She's secured a place in the final. Let's focus on Adam Andra, or what we can see of him as he heads up behind the lighting rig.
Few more moves. Come on.
Slapped up with the right hand, Adam Andra couldn't find the top. Look at that, he knows he's done
Yeah,
enough.
of course, when you get to the last part of the wall in Kranj, you often know you've done the job. Yeah, and this last part is always tricky because you're arriving on this pretty vertical wall, but you have a roof beneath you, so legs are always tricky. You always have to put your feet on the right spot, and yeah, that can be a very tricky last part, very unusual wall.
So it's the last climber on the men's side, Stefano Ghisolfi. One of the route setters with a big brush there, whacking one of the quick draws on the women's route. I think there's a possible issue with the quick draw. And now he's got a chair and a brush. He's got all the technical equipment.
Yeah, and Jesse's already ready, but waiting.
Yeah, Judges just made her wait while the brush was used. Not the way we normally see it in a climbing competition. So Stefano Ghisolfi, winner last year, looked really good in the qualifiers. 2019 has been a bit of a funny season for him. He hasn't quite delivered on the promise of 2017 and 18.
Yeah, the thing is, it's a special season with the Olympic selections going on this year, so he's been doing much more bouldering competitions. I think training much more on speed, so it's yeah, it's really different from other years. So that's very surprising. It can be different also regarding shape and also mental health. You have to have a fresh mind the whole year through. So it's a very demanding year.
Jessie Pilz now as well underway. The 2018 lead world champion had her title taken away from her by Janja Garnbret. She's in Hachioji, so she's no longer the reigning lead world champion. Stefano, he didn't, let's be honest, didn't have a great time in Hachioji. Didn't quite go according to plan, didn't secure Olympic qualification.
Oh, and he's skipping the cross move here for going directly to this Anaclink, which is the first climber to do so, but looks like it's quite a good solution. Much more efficient.
Really powerful way of doing things.
Yeah, sparing some energy.
Jessie just needs to get set up. So Stefano, the final climber out. That means the top 7 are through to the final. Now the scores are updated. That means it's Rei Sugimoto who's watching on nervously. He's currently in the drop zone.
But Stefano looks very composed, very solid on this sequence.
Yeah, he needs to get up to that 27 plus. It's the left-hand red volume that you can see on the left of that screen. It's the next move, basically, if he can stick.
Come on, struggling a bit here, come on. But still on the wall, come on.
Done enough, Stefano. That's him into the final. Rei Sugimoto will get bumped down. So Jesse on that safely through the 20 plus move, which I was slightly worried was going to stop an awful lot more climbers than it did. It claimed 6 victims so far. And Stefano just falls on the cross through with the right hand. Didn't look quite as strong on the wall as Adam and Jakob, but it might mean he has a little more in reserve for the finals tonight. That's how it stands on the women's side so far. Jessie not yet by any means guaranteed a place in the final.
No, and she seems to be struggling here on this move, but she manages to do it. Hopefully she can clip the quick throw.
Yeah, looking really pumped, Jessie.
Yeah.
Elbows are out.
Let's see what she will do here. Oh, and she's going through. Still a quick throw to clip, but she can reach it. Nice.
Remember, climbers can't go past the last clippable position, so you've got to be careful not to go too far past a quick draw. Jessie clearly demonstrated that she could clip from there. Looking tired, but she could well do enough here. She needs a few more moves.
Using her all of her body here, her knee on this volume, but she seems to be on the wrong hand here. She should be right hand higher, but she somehow manages to do it.
This is good battling from Jessie Pilz, because she was definitely tired a few moves ago.
Hey Jessie, Sean Jessie.
Getting to the powerful move here.
So Jessie,
come on.
If she can do this one, we'll find a way into the final. I think that's 34 plus for Jessie. I'm pretty sure that's actually going to be enough, even though she couldn't stick the move. Same move where we lost May, Jane, Chasa Kalan, Lana Skusek.
Yep.
So that should be enough. But it wasn't the smoothest performance from Jessie. She definitely looked pumped.
But I think the current results are not.
Yes, actually, score's beginning to update now. There's Jessie, moves into 4th place.
Which will be enough.
It will be enough, yes, 4 climbers to go.
Yep.
So Mia Krampel will be out next. Who could forget Mia Krampel in Munich earlier this year? Made her way onto the podium with one leg. That was incredible. Smashed her knee and then just carried on. I was sure she couldn't even carry on and made her way onto the podium in Munich. So no shortage of determination from Mia. And from now on out, the women will be climbing on their own because the men's semi-final is concluded. Results, which are provisional, I should add, are that Adam Andra is in 1st place, Jakob Schubert 2nd, Kai Harada 3rd, Stefano Gasolfi 4th, Martin Stranik 5th, Alberto Hines Lopez 6th, Kokoro Fuji 7th, and Sean McCall 8th.
Yeah, so that means there won't be any Slovenian in the men's category.
No, Domen
wasn't
Škofic is taking a bit of a break from competition, so he's not competing. But yeah, Luka Potočar was their highest ranked climber in 13th for Slovenia, as you rightly say. Martin Bergant 15th and Angie Perhark 16th.
Spremljamo pa še super nastop naše predstavnice Lana Skušek, Tjaša Kalan, Lučka Rakovec, Mina Markavitch in sedaj le
Mia had a great season this year. I was impressed at how many finals she made. She's been very close of winning even some competitions. I think she has a great progressions since last year. She's improving year by year. I wouldn't be surprised to see her win one day.
No, I mean silver medal in Hachioji in the lead.
Yep.
Second only to Janja. No, she's had a dream season. Again, a bit like Japan, Slovenia hunting that second woman to go to Tokyo. Assuming they get 2 through, they might not get a second one, depending on how it goes from here on out. But there's quite a battle there. No Vita Lucan, certainly for the foreseeable future, not to say she couldn't be back, depending on the nature of this knee injury, just towards the end of the qualification pathway. But Mia Krampel, you suspect, will be right up there in the battle for the second Slovenian Olympic slot. This is the key here to get through this move. I have to say, the top 10 climbers all got through this move, so it's not causing as many problems as it did towards the start of the semi-final, and Mia makes it 11 climbers safely through. Got a long way to go though before she books a place in the final. It's at 34 plus. Turns around to have a look at the clock. Laura Agora, of course, got timed out, and I have to say it could well have cost her a place in the final. Ended up outside the final places, but she looks like she had some gas left, Laura, when she fell. So the key would seem to be to keep moving.
Hvala tudi našim superglasnim navijačem, odlični ste, podporo naših predstavnic, Mia Krampel.
Mia didn't look too sure about that move. She's already got the lower quick draw clip, which has caused a few climbers some problems. She'll be able to feel that quick draw on the back of her shoulder.
Yeah, climbing very well for a moment. No big mistake. Just have to be really fresh for this powerful move, but seems like she will do it. Come on. She has some power left. Come on.
Oh, and doesn't get the clip done, and she won't know, but this is such a crucial move. And chose to take the big fall. That'll be 34 plus for her as well. That'll mean she's the 6th climber on 34 plus, and that will actually be enough for Mia Krampel. So as it turned out, it was a good decision. But what might she have achieved if she'd got that clip done? So Anna Verhoeven will be out next. Just wait for Mia's score to come through. Yeah, again, 34 plus. It's the highest. She's the highest rank due to the count back to the qualifiers of the 6 climbers tied on 34 plus. Here's Anak.
Yeah, it's her actually only second international competition this year. So because of her injury, she didn't go to the World Cups in July. Decided to go to Hachiochi, where she unfortunately got timed out in the semi-final and just didn't make it through to the finals. So getting her clock ready here so she doesn't time out, hopefully. And yeah, let's hope for a final. She's really in a good shape, so she really deserves it.
Yeah, she went well yesterday.
Yeah, definitely.
3 times in first place in the World Cup. First place also in Kranj World Cup competition back in 2016. Leta 2016 zmagovalka tukaj v Kranju. 10. letos iz letošnjega svetovnega prvenstva v težavnosti z Japonske.
So Anak launches up now, climbing out of Puurs in Belgium.
Yeah. I mean, she's training.
Just checking my pronunciation.
She's training in Puurs, we say.
Puurs.
Puurs.
Okay, sorry.
And yeah, she knows the routes by heart there. It's her main climbing gym, and she's really impressive on those routes, which are also very helpful to have endurance because the wall there is very long. It's one of the highest walls in Europe. So so when we train there, we train really a lot of endurance. So for sure, Anak won't have any endurance problem, I think, on this route.
The issue, it would seem from what we saw in Hachiochi, is just the time.
Yeah.
Saw Laura Agora timed out. Hopefully Anak will manage her time effectively.
It's also hard for a climber, I think, when you haven't been competing for a while, to get all your World Cup habits okay, because I mean you have to be ready at a certain time, you have to warm up properly, and when you haven't done it for a while, it can be sometimes challenging to find the right flow. But it seems for Anak it's not a big issue for the moment at this competition. She has had a really good qualifying round.
Yeah, she's absolutely cruising at this stage.
Yeah.
Decision to be made here about how to use the feet.
I'm guessing she will go for the heel hook, if I know her well. Come on. Oh, maybe no.
Trying to decide.
Maybe both, actually.
Yeah, a little bit of both.
It's a kind of both, yeah.
I think she's trying to calculate if her foot's big enough to do both.
Mm. Come on, Anak. Yeah, heel. Come on.
No problem at all. Up through that lower crux. Interestingly enough, we've only seen 2 climbers fall between that move and the one at 34
yeah.
plus.
It seems like this sequence now is a bit slightly easier, so you can climb a bit higher.
In fact, we've only seen 1 climber fall. It was Kyra Condi. Laura Agora's score is in amongst all this, but she was timed out. She didn't fall.
Anak cutting loose here, which was pretty nervous.
Yeah, rope not helping things either.
Yeah, we've seen some climbers struggling here with the heel and the clip. Some climbers deciding to keep going and then clip later on. Hopefully Anak can make a quick decision here. Come on. Allez. Also deciding to go through, but not. Come on.
Yeah, we're not seeing many climbers stop for long here.
No, you really. I mean, it's very overhanging, so you don't want to stop for too long here. But she's still, yeah. I mean, she has a lot of endurance, so she can allow her this kind of things.
Somewhat frustratingly, in the semi-final, we don't have the clock. So we can only guess how long she's got. Oh, the feet cut loose. She did well to hang on there.
Finding a drop knee here. Come on. Alianak. Come on.
Completely impartial commentary as ever. Free, fair, and impartial here at the IFSC.
Yeah, but I'm allowed
Yeah,
to.
of course you're allowed to be. You're allowed to be. Just trying to figure out what to do with the feet. She's been in a couple of positions, Anak. Now commits out left. Likes to climb in a really sure way. Likes to be sure of every move if possible.
Oh, going for the split here. First time we see this. Come on. Nice flexibility. Always useful. Come on, 2 more moves, at least.
Yeah, it seems to have got something back. I mean, I would love to see the clock now. I don't think she's. I don't think she's super tight for time, but she must be down to the last minute or so.
Yeah, could be. But she has a clock on her harness, so hopefully she knows. Come on.
Oh, and slaps up, and that'll be a 34 plus for her. That will be enough.
Yeah, I think she got a bit exhausted maybe with all the struggling with this clip a bit earlier on. But it will be enough for another battle this evening, which is very nice, of course, for me.
Well, she's had the most, she had the most incredible run of finals. I think it was 4, in fact it was 4 complete seasons where she didn't miss a final.
Yeah.
14, 15, 16, 17.
Yeah, she's very consistent.
Yanya already out. There you can see her making way to the wall, not messing around. Good view of someone's head.
Complete different style from other climbers we've seen before.
Yeah, it's Yanya Gambret's kind of heavy metal climbing.
Yeah.
Just start smashing it. I think she probably feels the local pressure a little bit, Yanya.
Maybe.
She's the star of the show. She walked in the hall yesterday during the men's qualifiers.
Yeah.
And instantly is surrounded by people in a way that the other climbers aren't.
Yeah, and so many young climbers here, some kids really screaming for her at every second. But I think that Yanya, when she's on the wall, she thinks only about her climbing, and of course you can feel the pressure, but if she has this kind of bubble where you don't hear anything and you just think about your climbing, then you don't really care about what's happening behind you. Often climbers don't even know what was the music was going on, for example, when you're climbing.
Do you find that something that just happens naturally? You just zone out?
Yeah, you can't really force it, but you know, when you get to this zone, when you only think about your climbing and the present, that's what every climber, of course, is looking for, and it's not something you can really force, but when you have some habits, or maybe some climbers like to listen to some music on their chair when they are preparing for climbing, which helps them to get to this zone and bubble where you just think about climbing.
You might be able to hear through the ambient microphones. There is a lot of screaming coming from down the front, a lot of young voices, as you say. She's got a lot of kids watching on, Slovenian kids inspired by Yanya Gambret, and as well they might be, and they're giving her a lot of encouragement now. Anak Verhoeven, by the way, I can just see already made her way into the crowd and is watching keenly from the front. Yanya safely through that 20 plus move.
With a toe hook, which was also not so surprising for Yanya. I think she prefers toe hooks.
Climbs at such a pace, Yanya. It's kind of constant movement.
That's also good way of keeping the rhythm and not losing your climbing rhythm when you're climbing.
Oh, and we lose Janja earlier on, and that is not going to be enough for a place in the final.
That's really surprising.
Oh, Janja Garnbret falls low down after winning a triple world championship in the space of a week in August. She just kept on moving, had a couple of risky moves earlier on.
Yeah, she hadn't clipped, and I don't know really what happened there, but didn't commit 100%, I think, for these movements. It's so surprising.
Janja Garnbret looking thoroughly fed up. She's only the second climber to fall on that sequence. And that is a huge shock. Before this season, she'd never missed a World Cup final. This year, she's missed 2 of 4 in the lead. So Janja does not do enough. We'll confirm her score in just a second, but she's well short of where she needed to be. Mori now hits the wall. She's 12th, Janja. She's only just going to finish in the top half of the semi-final. Well, Janja gets a big round of applause, but massive shock here. Janja Garnbret, she's only won once in Kranj, and she's not going to add to it in 2019. So Mori now, the only climber to top both routes in the qualifiers. Seemingly, as Loic said earlier on, just, I don't want to say takes a lot to get her pumped, just doesn't seem to get pumped. Or if she does, it seems to disappear within 30 seconds if she finds a decent rest. So she's got mega endurance. Could we see a top here? We didn't see a top on either route so far. 39 plus the best we saw on the men's route, and 38 plus the best we've seen on the women's route so far. Could Mori find a top?
That would be a great finish of this semi-final. And Mori has been so impressive this year. She has, I think, one of the best battles I've seen this year was definitely at the World Championships, where she was struggling so much at the start of the route and then somehow kept going, and got to the top of the route almost.
Yeah, she seemed to tie herself in a knot about midway up the route. I can remember it now, over on the left of the route. And then suddenly was still going at the top. Quite an amazing climber physically.
I think she also got the only top of the combined semi-finals at the World Champs. So she's definitely aiming for a top here.
Yeah, she certainly is. It's Jane Kim who's currently sitting in 8th place. 2 Slovenians will be in the final, Mia Krampel and Lučka Rakovic, but Janja Garnbret will not be joining them. So Mori, let's just see if she gets through this 20 plus move. Safely through.
Mori, naprej Garnbret. Še zadnjo spremljamo včerajšnjo zmagovalko kvalifikacije. Mori.
Now she's getting to the part where every climber struggled with the heel. Will she dare putting the heel? Yeah, she's using the heel here and having the clip down, which is a good thing. knowing how tricky this sequence is.
And she's coming up to the move where we lost Janja.
That was a very nice drop knee there.
Again, the lighting not really helping. Remember, a 34 plus will do it. The big move up into that yellow hold, right on the horizontal section of the wall. Mori actually shaking out. Maybe she does get a tiny bit pumped. It's probably gone already though. Again, she's just can't really make it out where she is. Well, you can see where she is from having seen previous climbers there, but the light's certainly not ideal.
This is the powerful move she has to do. Nice.
So that's Mori into the final at the expense of Jane Kim by my maths.
Getting to the smile here.
Yeah, needs to get the clip done. Really awkward when the clips are right in front of you like that and you've got to move your body out of the way.
And she doesn't seem pumped at all. But will she ever get pumped? Come on. That's where we lost Luska here. Oh, slipping left, going right again.
Definitely needs to get the feet involved here. If she's going to have a chance, Mori, she's still hanging on, but unless she can get her feet on, she's not going to get any further and does not get any further. But will be safely through into the final. So let's have a look at the results. Remember, these are provisional results, so maybe appeals, of course. But as it stands, it'll be Adam Andra, Jakob Schubert, Kai Harada, Stefano Gasolfi, Martin Stranick, Alberto Hines Lopez, Kokoro Fuji, and Sean McCall. What a final that is. 6 World Cup winners. Added to that, Martin Stranick and the young gun Alberto Hines Lopez. That looks like a fantastic final potentially this evening here in Kranj. Rei Sakamoto narrowly misses out. And a few big names also not having the performances they were looking for. I'm thinking Roman de Grange, Sean Bailey, Marcello Bombardi, Basti Halianka. 19th for Hamish Macarthur in his first World Cup semi-final. And the rest of the Brits, Jim Pope and Will Bosley, 23rd and 26th. Respectively, and now Monchois marked down for treading on a bolt, was originally on a 27.5, which would actually have been enough for a final, but rules be rules, and he ends up down in 21st. Just waiting for the women's results to come through, and there they are. Mori actually ties with Luchka Rakovic. Looked like she might get a little bit further, but couldn't find anything to do with her feet and ends up moving ahead only on qualifying results. It's her and Luchka Rakovic, Cheon Sun, Natsumi Hirano, Anik van Hoven, Mia Krampel, Jessie Pilt, and Mei Kotaki is the top 8. Jane Kim and Chiasa Kalan also scoring 34 plus on the semi-final route. Lana Skusek also on 34 plus. Laura Gora got timed out on 30, and then in 13th place Janja Garnbret, a scarcely believable result, misses a World Cup final for the second time this season in the lead World Cups. And the lowest 7, remember we had 27 women in today's semi-final. It's Fanny Gibert in 21st. Molly Thompson-Smith, who only just made it into the semi-finals, ends the morning in 27th. And it's still only 10:30 in the morning. Semi-finals already done. As I say, it was an early start here in Kranj, but look, thank you very much for your company.
Thank you.
A thoroughly enjoyable semi-final and what could be 2 fascinating finals this evening. We've got the women first, they're up at 5:30 Kranj time, followed immediately by the men. We'll look forward to seeing you then.
Women for women final. Best 8 women finalists with official results already in our table.